Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder how big companies, update all their tech without causing total chaos?
Huh. Yeah, it's a big job.
Well, today we're jumping into IT change management. We'll look at the processes they use behind the scenes.
The stuff that keeps the digital lights on.
Exactly. Our mission to pull out the key insights from our sources on why having a plan for these changes is so vital.
And what makes it work. Or what leads to disaster if you don't have it.
So what is change management really at its core?
Think of it as the playbook. It's the policies, the procedures, the resources,
Mm-hmm.
everything needed to govern changes, especially IT changes.
Yeah.
Hardware, software, even how things are governed.
And these changes can come from anywhere, inside or outside the company.
Yeah, it could be internal, maybe wanting faster systems, or external, like new security rules. The scope varies wildly.
From like small updates to huge overhauls.
Precisely. But the main goal is always, well, managing risk. You want to minimize disruption to the actual business.
Okay, so let's say a company needs an upgrade. What's the typical flow, step by step?
Right. It usually starts with spotting the need. What problem are we solving?
Makes sense.
Then a high-level plan. What are the goals? Get management approval. That's key.
Of course.
Then you figure out budget, timeline, who's doing what.
Mm-hmm.
Crucially, you've got to think about risks, both before and after.
Proactive risk assessment.
Exactly. Then map out implementation, get the resources, train people, test it,
A lot of steps.
execute the plan, and then review and monitor afterwards to make sure it actually worked.
You mentioned something called segregated environments. Why is that separation so important? Why not just update the live system?
Good question. Imagine trying to rewire a building while everyone's still working in it.
Risky.
Right.
Very.
Segregated environments were like separate workshops. You've got development for coding, testing for finding bugs,
Okay.
then staging. It's like a dress rehearsal in a production-like setting. Test everything. Function, compatibility, security.
Final check.
Right. Then production is the live system your users interact with. And you also need a disaster recovery environment, just in case. Separating these stops a development glitch from, say, crashing the whole company website.
That makes total sense. Avoids chaos. So what are the
Okay.
big risks companies face during these changes? Where do things typically go wrong?
Oh, risks pop up everywhere. Just selecting and buying stuff can be risky.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of expertise. You might buy incompatible software or something with security holes.
Bad start.
Definitely. Then integrating the new stuff with the old.
Mm-hmm.
That's often the hardest part. People resist change. Maybe management isn't fully supportive, resource issues,
The human element.
and technical ones. System failures, things not integrating properly, especially with older legacy systems.
And outsourcing. Does that add more risk?
It can, yeah. The third party might not get your business, or maybe their quality or security isn't up to scratch. You're handing over control, essentially.
So with all these risks, what controls do companies use? How do they protect themselves?
Well, first off, clear policies and procedures. The rulebook we talked about.
Right.
For emergencies, like a critical security patch, you need special, faster procedures, but still track everything. Standard forms for change requests help too.
Consistency.
Yep. Assessing the impact of a change is vital. What will this affect? Requiring authorization, separating duties so the developer isn't the one pushing code live, for instance.
Prevents mistakes or worse.
Exactly. Controls during data migration, having a way to revert back if things go bad, thorough testing before and after going live, and then ongoing monitoring. It's a whole system of checks.
Documentation seems like a running theme here. Why is keeping detailed records so critical?
It's your audit trail, your history.
Mm-hmm.
Essential for fixing problems later, for
Mhm.
training, for seeing if things are actually working better. You need a baseline, like a before picture of your system, to compare against.
A benchmark.
Precisely. And an inventory, knowing what hardware and software you have, its status, who owns it, helps manage upgrades and when things need replacing.
Okay, let's shift slightly. Our sources talk about different ways to manage the change process itself. Waterfall versus agile. What's the difference there?
The methodologies.
Yeah.
Waterfall is the traditional way, very linear. Step 1 finishes, then step 2 starts, and so on. Different teams handle different phases.
Sounds rigid.
It can be. It relies heavily on getting everything defined perfectly up front. Changes later are hard. And sometimes people are waiting around.
In agile.
Agile is more flexible, iterative. Cross-functional teams work together in short bursts called sprints, focusing on priority items. Constant communication, feedback. You can adapt as you go.
So better for projects where requirements might change?
Often, yes. It's about delivering working software frequently and responding to change, rather than just following a rigid plan. Customer satisfaction is a big focus.
Interesting contest. What about patching systems? Is that part of change management too?
Absolutely. Patch management is crucial. It's the process for fixing vulnerabilities between major releases, evaluating patches, testing them ideally not on the live system, getting approval, deploying during planned downtime, and verifying at work.
Needs a documented process, I imagine.
Highly recommended, yeah. Especially for things like SOC2 compliance. You can't
Right.
just patch randomly. It needs structure.
And when it's time to switch from an old system to a new one, entirely the conversion, are there different ways to do that big jump?
Oh, definitely. There's the direct cutover, flip the switch, new system on, old one off, high risk if the new one fails.
Risky indeed.
Then parallel, run the both old and new side by side for a while. Safer, but uses more resources.
Double the work, almost.
Kinda. There's pilot, try it with a small group first,
Mm-hmm.
and phased, roll it out bit by bit, maybe by department or location. Or you can mix and match a hybrid approach.
Depends on the situation, I guess.
Exactly. Risk tolerance, resources, complexity.
Hmm.
It all plays a part.
So, testing seems absolutely critical throughout all of this. Can you elaborate on the different types of testing?
Sure. Testing isn't just one thing. You have unit testing, checking the smallest bits of code.
Like individual bricks.
Good analogy. Then integration testing, seeing how those bricks work together. Then system testing, checking the whole application. And finally, acceptance testing, does it meet the user's needs? That often involves end users, maybe beta testing.
Got it. And there's often a change advisory board or CAB involved?
Yes, the CAB. They typically review and approve changes, make sure documentation is right, coordinate resources, ensure the separate environments are used. They're like the gatekeepers. Lack of a proper CAB process can lead to real trouble.
Like unapproved changes causing outages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you need a way to roll back changes if they cause problems. That relies on having that system inventory and baseline we talked about. Always notify users before a rollback, though.
Crucial communication. Okay, bringing it all together then. What's the big picture, the main takeaway on IT change management?
I think the key is that it's not optional, not just some IT bureaucracy. It's a core business discipline, really. It needs structure, planning, risk awareness, solid controls, and the right methodology.
It's all interconnected.
Absolutely. Weakness in one area, like testing or approvals, can undermine the whole effort. It's about managing complexity safely.
Makes perfect sense. It really highlights how much goes into keeping our digital world running. So here's a final thought for you listening. Think about a change you've experienced, maybe even just organizing your own files or workflow that went poorly. Could applying some of these ideas, planning, thinking about impact, maybe even having a rollback plan have helped? These principles aren't just for massive IT departments.